Hey, what's up, everybody? Andrew Gouché here, and you're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com, the #1 site for BassPlayersOnly.com, baby. Yeah.
Hi everyone, John Liebman here. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com. We are coming to you today from the Notehead booth, our very own booth at the 2019 Summer NAMM Show, Nashville, Tennessee. And look who we ran into, our old friend Andrew Gouché. What's up, Andrew?
What's up? Everything is great, can't complain.
Good to see you again. Last time we did an interview was at Summer NAMM Show in Nashville, but that was back a few years ago. And we were talking about, we've done a few interviews already. We heard the whole story about your experience with Prince. What a great story. And the last time we also talked about your then new record, We Don't Need No Bass, right? Which I still continue to enjoy. And as I mentioned to you a few minutes ago, you did...
you actually sold one, too.
I think I sold more than one, but, well, we have...
sent me the money for one.
Well, I gave... Anyway, as I was saying, what were we talking about? Oh yes, Andrew Gouché, and the fact that it's been 3+ years since our last interview. I thought it fitting, and I thought they would be curious and interested in knowing what's been going on in your busy bass playing life. So fill us in.
I just literally 2 weeks ago relocated from Los Angeles to Seattle, Washington. Which is crazy. I just turned 60 on Memorial Day, and I've been in LA my whole life. So I just picked up everything and moved to Seattle because my wife got a job there a couple of years ago. She went there for work, and I was doing the back and forth thing, and then it just stopped making sense. And I honestly was like, thinking about what's actually keeping me in LA. And most of the things I do now are online anyway, or I'm flying to go do something. And I can do that from anywhere.
So they have internet in Washington State?
They have electricity, running water, internet, all of those.
Indoor plumbing?
All of those. They don't have air conditioning, which is a trip because most people in Seattle don't have air conditioning.
Oh, you're not joking?
No, I'm serious.
Okay. Well, it rains so much there, it keeps it nice and cool, right?
The weather is great. The air is clean. Where our house is really beautiful. It's up on a hill, and out of my bedroom window, I can see Puget Sound and downtown Seattle. To the left and to the right, I can see Mount Rainier.
And somewhere in between is Microsoft and Amazon.
Yeah.
And Starbucks.
Right, exactly. So it's really peaceful, and I'm actually looking forward to just a new season in my life. This world has gotten so much smaller now. It used to be you had to be in certain cities to function, but it's really not like that anymore. So I just had to mentally separate myself from LA because all my family's there and all of that. But I feel pretty good about this, and starting some new things, meeting new people, because I literally don't know anybody there. And LA was my town, that was my city. And so I have to build a new network in Seattle, and I'm so excited about that. Cool thing is I've gone to a couple of clubs and jams and stuff, and everywhere I go, everybody knows who I am. So I think that's going to work in my favor.
I spent a little bit of time there, not much, but I do recall there was a pretty happening scene in Seattle. I'm not talking about after the grunge thing from the 90s, but it was cool jazz and
What I found out is that, first of all, talent knows no geographical boundaries, and there are great musicians everywhere. And so now I'm actively looking for really dope musicians, so because I want to start doing things I've really gotten into playing my own music now, so that's really what I want to do. So I anticipate doing a lot of that there. Yeah.
All right. And the place where I happened to bump into you a few minutes ago was over at MTD Bass with Mike Tobias, and you are still obviously an MTD guy. Tell us.
MTD for life,
That's right.
That's actually my slogan, and
I've seen it.
And I literally I can't play anything else, you know, and I love all the other people. I love them all. But Mike and I have a connection that goes back over 30 years now, you know, and I tell people all the time, he knows my sound and he makes it, you know. So I'm very happy. I love Mike. I love Daniel. I love my relationship with those guys. So I'm in it for the long haul.
Which models are you playing?
Well, I'm playing all of my own signature models. The Andrew Gouché signature, 635, 535, and 435. The plum bass, which is the one everybody knows. Yeah. And then the white one is the signature Golden Pearl, 635. And I also have a MIDI bass too. But right now I'm really excited because we're building a LA Lakers bass. So I'm doing a tribute bass to the Lakers, and I just can't wait to see it. It's going to be super dope. We were talking about it yesterday, and they're as excited as I am about it, which is really cool.
But you raise another question now. You said you were in LA all your life. Now you're in, you know where I'm going with this?
Somebody already asked me, are you going to cheer for the Seahawks and the Mariners? The answer is a resounding no. Okay. I'm a Dodgers fan. I'm a Lakers fan forever, and I'm a Rams fan. So every time you see me, you're going to see me with something that says LA on it. So I'll be there. I love Seattle, but I'll never lose my love for my city.
It's funny how you knew where I was going with that. Getting back to your gear for a minute, the 6 prefix in those models, does that refer to the number of strings on those basses?
35 is the 6 string, 535 is the 5, and so on.
So you slap on a 6 string?
Yes. Well, I don't slap.
What do you call it?
I thump and pluck.
Semantics.
No, that's what Larry Graham called it, and he's the one that created it. Okay. So somewhere along the line, people started calling it slap bass, and I will never use that term.
Okay, I don't feel that strongly about it. What kind of strings what kind of noodles are you putting on those basses?
Right now I'm using IQS strings, which is the same company that makes my amp. There's an actual Andrew Gouché signature model pro amp. It's incredible. It's 1,000 watts, weighs about 5 pounds, and I had a lot of input into setting up the EQ on it, so the frequencies that I like are on that amp. And it's like I take it cool thing is I just put it in a small bag and take it everywhere I go, because they don't have distribution in the U.S. now. Not yet. It's coming. So
are they based somewhere else?
In Italy, in Milan, Italy. So cool thing is I can take my sound everywhere I go. So yeah.
Anything else as far as equipment, gear, effects?
Well, my gear kind of stays the same. What's happening new is that I'm finishing up my second record, you know, and I'm really excited. There were some things that I actually recorded when I was in Minnesota with Prince that we were doing a jazz record there. It was going to be called the New Power Generation Quartet, which was John Blackwell, myself, this incredible saxophone player named Marcus Anderson, and this keyboard player named Dominique Xavier Taplin, who I introduced to Prince. Prince fell in love with him. He's actually a keyboard player. He's singing and playing keyboards and doing vocals with Toto right now. He's on tour with Toto. And we re-recorded a whole record in Studio A at Paisley Park. Incredible album. That album is in what do they call it, in the vault with all the other stuff. But I had enough sense to get my songs. I wrote 2 songs on the record. So those 2 songs that I wrote are going to go on my record. And
beautiful. I bet Prince didn't skimp and didn't cut any corners on that studio either.
Huh? No. Yeah. Being in Paisley Park is like the Disneyland for musicians, you know. To go in there, the thing I loved about him was he only recorded analog. And
old school.
Yeah, years ago, all the records I did were analog, and I remember when the digital revolution came and everybody switched over. And I've been, you know, for the last 25 years or so, it's been all digital. I had forgotten what analog sounds like. And the first song we recorded, and he's got the big, like, 2 sets of 215 and 10 speakers on each side. And when we hit playback, it was like I felt like I was in a tornado or some of sound, and I forgot how rich and beautiful the analog sound is.
Well, taking that one step further, you're going to release it on vinyl, maybe?
I don't know. I'm still thinking about how to do that because people generally don't buy physical music anymore, you know.
Downloads.
I think I will do some vinyl, but not a lot because I have had people ask me for vinyl. So I haven't gotten that far. I'm just trying to finish now. And then I'll deal with all that other stuff afterwards.
All right. What else can you tell us about it? When is it going to be out, and whatever? And do you have a title for it?
I don't have a title, but I just put my studio back together in Seattle because honestly it wasn't going to feel like home until I got my studio up and running, and that was just a couple of days ago. So when I get home, I'm going to hit the ground running, and I don't really have a timeline because there's some things I want to do, some pretty special things, and a couple of features I'm going to have, some collaborations that I won't name that are really excited. I won't even talk about them until they're done.
Another follow-up interview we can do at the right time.
Yeah, so it's some really cool stuff in the works. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I want to ask you a little bit about bass technique. I don't think we touched on that. In addition to, I mentioned we have about 750 interviews on the Notehead sites, 600 or so of which are bass interviews. And we also have now, we migrated over all the content from my instructional site, from johnliebman.com. That's now part of forbassplayersonly.com, 150, 160 courses right now. And we're attracting a lot of people who always wanted to play the bass, never really had a chance. Maybe they're retired, maybe they've got a little more time now. It's an opportunity. Just wondering what you can share with those people who want to learn bass. They don't necessarily aspire to be mega rock stars, but they just want to learn to play the bass and to groove and to have some fun. Is there anything as far as technique goes that you spot with people, or that they're doing or they're not doing, or things that they should be thinking about, or anything along those lines that you can impart as far as bass technique?
What I think about when I hear, start talking about hearing people wanting to play is that, first of all, you have to love it. And when you love it, that's what will keep you going through the times when you get discouraged because you're not physically capable yet to do what you're aspiring to do, because you're going to go through a period where everything is hard and you're going to suck. That's just how it works. Everybody sucks when they first start out, but you got to get past that and keep trying and keep pushing, and then eventually things will start to come easier and easier. When I give lessons, it's funny to me because a lot of people, they want to learn. When I ask them, because I always say, well, what is it that you want to learn? I want to learn this lick that you did on such and such a record, but it's like, and then I say, let me see you play. And I'm like, okay, so first of all, and I'm very honest with people, you're not ready to play that lick yet, because it makes no sense to know the how if you don't know the why, and so you have to go through that phase where it's boring and just not fun, but keep pushing, and then it'll get to that point, you'll start, and what I tell people too is figure out songs that you like. That's what makes it interesting too. You working on your technique, but make a goal to be able to play a particular song that you really like, and that's what will keep you inspired. You have to stay inspired or else you'll quit. The beauty of this is no matter what age you are, it's never too late to start. But everybody starts, like if we were athletes, our careers would be over now, But the beauty of this is you can be 50 and 60 years old and start playing bass, and that's what I tell people. Yeah.
Excellent advice. Andrew, I probably asked you this in one of our previous interviews, but I don't remember, so I'm going to throw it at you one more time. What would you be if you weren't a bass player? Something outside of music.
A bum. When I was 17 years old, I literally said, well, not now, because I know I'd have to work. I'd find a job. I'd do whatever I needed to do. But when I was 17, I said I'm going to make it in music or I'm going to be a bum. I had no plan B. So it might not be good to take my advice because people see you when you're here. Everybody posts all their videos when they're on tour and doing really, really well. But nobody sees you when you're here and struggling and trying to pay your rent and do all that kind of stuff, you know. So at this point in my life, because I have a wife and family, I would do whatever I have to do to help support my family, you know. So I don't have the option to be a bum like I did when I was 17 years old. I'm 60 years old now, so it's a different world, you know.
Can't you be a musician and a bum at the same time?
Yeah, I have been that. I've been it a few times, you know.
All right, I think we're getting into dangerous territory here, so why don't we wrap it up for now? But we will get together again and want to hear more about the new record and the other stuff that you're just not ready to talk about yet, and we understand.
Always a pleasure, man. Always.
The pleasure is mine and the honor. On location at the Notehead booth at the 2019 Summer NAMM Show with our old friend, old friend Andrew Gouché. You're watching the #1 site for online bass player interviews, exclusive one-on-one bass player interviews, and now more and more people's favorite site for online bass instruction for basspleyersonly.com. I'm John Leapman. Thanks for checking it out.
For bass players only.